Boise, Idaho.
Boise, Idaho.
West Coast.
Yep.
I have done some research. It's 4 degrees currently
4
in
degrees.
Boise. 4 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So Celsius to Fahrenheit. You need to double the Celsius plus 32.
So 4 times 2.
8.
8. Plus 32.
Yep.
40.
Boom.
Or you just add a 0 to it and that's it, right? Would that work?
Ooh. Does that only work for 4 degrees?
Yeah, I think.
All right, let's run it through.
Try another
so
one.
if it's 10 degrees,
Okay.
times 2 is 20,
Mhm.
plus 32, 52.
Doesn't work.
You can't add a 0 to 10 because that's 100.
Yeah, that'd be way too hot.
That's not 52.
Yeah. So Boise, West Coast, 4 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Boise.
I think it's a mountainy area.
They're saying it is the new Montana. It's like the
Okay.
cheaper Montana.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're from Boise. Boise.
Boise.
Boise. Boise.
Let us know how it's going there. If you just moved recently.
Dan, this is episode 5. Danisode 5
Yeah.
of Just
Cinco.
Dan's. I'm Dan.
I'm Dan.
2 Dans, 2 dads. And last episode we talked about girls.
Yeah.
This episode,
Boys.
boys. How many boys you got?
I got 1. How many boys you got?
3.
3.
3 boys. I've got a 12, 8, and 6.
All right. Mine's 12.
2 12s.
We should get them to hang out sometime.
So 12 plus times 2 plus 32. So our boys in
24.
Fahrenheit.
50. No.
56.
56. Yeah.
56 in
That was
Fahrenheit.
close. Yeah.
We love boys. Boys are different to girls. Like last episode, a little bit more like cute,
Yeah.
dance, how sweet.
Sensitive
love.
sides. Yeah.
Boys. Boom.
Hey, Dad! Hey, Dad! Hey, Dad!
It's 6 a.m. You're like, yeah. So the contrast
Completely different.
to juxtapose girls to boys in 2 episodes. I'm looking forward to this one, and I'm looking forward to even creating a reel. Hopefully we get it on Instagram soon, of just how I would interpret how boys get in a car after school, and it's chaos. How boys unpack a dishwasher.
It's complete chaos.
I have come into the kitchen now because we talked about, we vacuum as dads and as Dans.
We also clean kitchens.
We clean kitchens, we do the dishes, what can't we do? Really?
I mean, I'm not much of a Sparky, but I think I can figure it out.
Fair.
Yeah.
I think so. With enough YouTube videos, you can do anything.
Yeah.
But I walk into the kitchen after my boys have unpacked the dishwasher. They managed to get water everywhere. And then for the weeks after, I'm finding utensils in drawers and cupboards. I'm going, how? But they're beautiful. I love boys. I love the chaos that comes with boys. So, Dan, what is one thing about your boy that you, I guess, different to girls? What's something that's like, they are just different in this area?
I think noise.
Yeah.
Just loud. It's always amped up. Even like, at nighttime, I'll go in, lay down with Amelie.
Yep.
We cuddle for a little bit, talk, but we're not talking loud. It's whispering, right? Because we know people in the house are trying to sleep. Going to Josiah, because then Amelie, hey, it's time to go to bed. Going to Josiah. Hey, Dad, Josiah, your sister's trying to sleep. You got to whisper. Okay, I'll whisper it. And it just gets louder and louder every time. And it's an every night thing. So I just think the loudness that comes with boys would be what sticks out to me the most.
I think the extreme nature, because then sometimes Hugo would whisper, but whisper so quiet I can't hear it. so
just moving his lips.
There are times where like my ear is just like up again. I'm like, I still can't hear you, bro. Like, add some noise to it.
You still gotta speak.
For sure. Or when Ted, I think he's more a Josiah. Like, his volume is this or this. And it's like, boom. And I think how he operates a TV, it's like, why is the volume so high?
95?
Like, you walk down in the morning and you're like, ow. So I think they crash into life. I think, fun fact, a group of rhinos is called a crash. And I liken that
Wow, I
to
didn't know that.
boys.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that is how they operate as a pack.
you get a group of them together, and it
It's a
is rhinos.
crash
Yeah.
of rhinos. And but I what I do love though is then how they invent games.
Oh, yeah.
The games often are just like it's either to the death. There's
Yeah.
no in between.
No, no, and it's, again, amped up on everything. Like, it's not
Mm,
just you do it a little bit, you do it all out on everything. And I
100%.
love that because I think there's really good aspects of that you
Yeah.
translates to life.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also like, okay, well, we can play like that with each other.
Yep.
But when you're playing with your sister, remember she's
Yeah.
younger than you and she's a girl, so just
Yes.
try
Yes.
tone it down a notch. And I think that's a daily reminder.
Yeah,
Whether
for
we're
sure.
playing basketball, whatever we're doing, it's
Yeah.
just he's going all out on everything.
Wow. And that I think I hope they never lose that. Like just the jump to launch in no filter.
Yeah.
But I think so. Has your boy been into like in terms of fads? You know, girls have had their fads, water bottles, looming, slime. Boy fads are different, obviously. And yes, Ted slimed. He's been through a strong. He loves a textural slime session, or Murphy loves a bit of Play-Doh. But I definitely think like Fortnite's been a
Yeah.
long-standing one for
I think
Hugo.
that's the biggest one.
Like I'm talking a good couple of years. But
Yeah.
there's ebbs and flows of that too. There's
Right.
seasons of like he's grinding hard on Fortnite, and then it's like, bro, like, what are you playing these days?
Hasn't played it for a few
Clash
weeks.
Royale.
But then as soon as you get back into it, it's the same thing. Like they'll
Exactly.
take a week, 2, 3 weeks off,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden come back to it. And it's the greatest game ever then.
So I got to think though, outside of that fad, I think sports has been the biggest,
Yeah.
but different sports in different seasons.
Yep.
When all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're a football family. Okay, yeah, right, football, and then on a dime we've turned, and it's like LeBron, and you're like, hey, well, we were just Mahomes, and now we're LeBron. Are we going like ice sledding next? Like what?
Bobsled. I mean, there's and I think
Lucky Eggman.
I I think with those two in particular, like Josiah doesn't play organized basketball, but
Yep.
because Hugo loves basketball, plays basketball,
Mm.
now Josiah's just like every night he's checking ESPN, the scores,
Mm.
different players, what they're doing, and so it is that fad of it's
Mm.
basketball season. So now all of a sudden I'm just gonna watch basketball and look at the stats and watch
Yes.
highlights. So yeah, that's
So I think though with brothers, so watching I guess the three boys operate together, whatever one is in, the others follow. So
yeah.
often Hugo leads the way, and if it's basketball,
The-
the other two the two follow. Ted and
Yeah.
Murphy, boom, we're basketball, and then all of a sudden Hugo started playing football. Guess what? Murphy's there going, go football, and you're like, has he ever watched a game before?
But he's into it.
I think boys talk at a certain level, though. I do appreciate they talk and talk and talk. They're social.
Yeah.
They're social, which I always thought the girls are the social one.
Yeah,
But I believe the boys talk on a whole new level.
they do.
But they talk a lot of smack as well.
Yes.
And so Hugo was able to get his way through a football tryout, never seeing a game nor playing American football. And I think about 3 sessions in, the coach was like, Hugo, do you know what sport we're trying out for? And he was like, yeah, yes, sir. And he was able to play a whole season. I don't think he's ever watched it from start to finish, like
Yeah.
an actual game. So I think though, then boys just have a way of fluffing their way through.
For sure.
Watching Ted watch basketball, there's a lot of chatter, and you're like, Ted convinces me that it is gospel,
Yeah.
and he would bring up these facts about players that you're like,
The-
are you having me on? Is that like what? But then they correct each other, and Murphy's like, no, that's not true. I'm like, but how do you know it's true?
Right. But they say it with such confidence too, of like, then I start believing, like Josiah will say something, well, this guy did this. How does he even know that? And I don't want to argue it because I don't know, but then it's like, dude, just don't be making stuff up.
100%.
But did you hear that from someone? And how do they know? And so, yeah, I've realized I've done multiple times like that's not true, and then I have to catch myself and be like, actually, I don't even know if that's true.
I've done a sneaky little side fact check.
Yeah.
Just one of these. And then you come in as a dad, you come in with like all authority, and then you come heavy and you're just like, well, no, because in 1944 they changed the rule and here it is. And there's been a few moments where like I step in going, yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, got him on this
I
one.
just like settled it. And then all of a sudden then they go and do another fact check and come back and it's like, all right, I'm out. That's the only fact I've got. I can't speak around it. I can just speak to that really
just
small.
one specific. That's it.
Now, us guys, I don't want to admit this. Like Dan's might not as much as the other guys, but there is a point of boys' life where humankind, where body odor is real.
Yeah.
As a school teacher, I've taught for over a decade, middle school boys, particularly.
Stank.
After like lunch, and lunch in Australia is a 45-minute break of outside play. And so boys would often forget eating lunch. Like I'm going to play.
Yeah.
And so I would be on yard duty at the oval, and I know we have like ovals in like schools in Australia, and yard duty would just be they launch from class, throw their books in the locker, grab a ball, and just go. 45 minutes of just run,
hot sun,
sweat dripping. Their school shirt is just like transparent now with sweat. And then they just like crash back into class. Teaching a middle school math lesson after lunch, especially on a Friday.
Yuck.
Ooh, it's stinky. Oh, it's stinky. And I've tried politely. I've tried not politely. I've tried talking to the coordinator. I've tried handing out free deodorant. Like, there's just something about they can't smell. I didn't smell myself. Did you ever like?
No.
When did you realize you smell?
I don't think it was middle school. And if it was, then I would probably blame someone else. But I feel like they even smell when they're not running around. Like if they're not sweating, if they're not running around, if they're just sitting for a full day and they haven't put deodorant on, by 2, 3, 4 o'clock, they're going to start to stink a little bit.
So how have you encountered it? I think, have you approached the hey bud, do you stink?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's always trying to encourage, hey, did you put your deodorant on today?
Yeah.
Are you sure you put deodorant on
You're
today?
so polite,
Yeah.
Dan.
Well,
I go straight for it. I go for the
you smell so
oh.
bad.
I think Nat tries the polite way. She's like, hey Hugo, just hey family, like let's go broad
Yeah.
first, and then let's
then
really
hone
come
in on who it is. If they don't get it after you did the whole family, then you just start to kind of go in and just be all right.
Let's be honest, occasionally I put my hand up and
yeah,
I'm just going to the bathroom.
Speaking of, we were just talking about the shampoo Native.
Yeah.
Love the smell of it. I got some of their deodorant.
Yeah.
It is the worst deodorant ever created. Within 25 minutes, I stink. It makes me stink.
Oh, okay. I'm so glad we've gone there, Dan. This is not even in the notes. This is off script. Okay.
Yeah.
I have an issue with deodorant companies that promote the fact that they think they can cover you for 72 hours of coverage.
No way.
Oh,
it's lying.
I want to test that theory. It is false advertising. Who doesn't shower every 72 hours?
Yeah.
And are they saying their product can penetrate the soap that you will use on your pits? Like, there is a passion inside of me that then, because I read it, I actually like it. I held up my can.
Was it Native that did it? Or is it, okay.
I don't know what
they might say works for 20 minutes. I haven't read it.
And I'm holding it up going, 72 hours they're promoting.
Way.
Like back in the day, I remember I am old now. It wasn't long ago where deodorant companies and cans had 24-hour coverage.
Yeah.
And I was like that for me is realistic. You put it on every morning. That's it.
You might get a little hint of it after 24 hours and be like, okay, I see where they're coming from.
Let's go again. So you can push it another day with another application. Then they went to 48, and I was like, man, like, how are they doubling? Like, what are they putting in this now to then say they're going to cover me for 48 hours of smell? Then recently, 72 crept up
There's
there.
no way.
I call them on it,
That's false advertisement. Right?
and I just decide let's boycott.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we can boycott because we're still going
Are
to
we
use it.
sponsored by them or no?
No,
Okay.
we're not going to name. Well, yeah, there are. I think it's across the. I think it's the market. I think
Everybody.
someone started, and they all followed.
Yeah.
Oh, 72. Now we're all 72.
We're 72 too.
Imagine being in the marketing department. You know, hey, I saw another company join 72. Do you reckon we should up them another 24 hours? All right, yeah, no worries. Okay, 96. You good for 96, guys? 96? All right. Do you then go to the scientists in the lab and be like, hey, man, can you just test us on it? Because we're going to put 96 on the
They're going to
can.
look at you and be like, we haven't even been able to do it for 6 hours yet. But you have to do 100.
Every quarter of a day, every 6 hours, you should really reapply.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, that for me is like, that's honest marketing. I would buy that can of deodorant.
Yeah, be
like,
honest with me.
They know who they are.
Yeah. As long as you tell me the truth and I know I have to apply it every 6 hours, cool. I'll do it. But native, never again. Shampoo's still great.
Then we've got boys, we're Dans, we're dads, and there's one thing which our boys do, which I would love to know, do your boys do it as well? Our boys FaceTime a bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a 36-year-old, I've entered a new bracket of life where like I'm looking at my boy who FaceTime all the time and I'm going, they would FaceTime when they play Fortnite together because the whole headphone thing doesn't work, so they just FaceTime. They would FaceTime. It was snowing the other day here in Charlotte, and they were FaceTiming where Hugo puts the camera and Josiah just sat watching Hugo shoot hoops on FaceTime. I just
I don't get it. I would be so bored.
it.
Like I look back. I don't think I could just sit and watch my friend
No.
via FaceTime do anything. And even if I'm playing video games with you, like I'm gonna be focused on the video game.
Yeah.
I want to beat you.
Totally.
But they're having side conversations, laughing, playing, like it's a whole new
they're
thing.
having a great time. Like,
yeah,
they're both winning out of this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going, okay. But isn't that interesting where culture is swinging big time? Where for me, I didn't grow up watching, I guess YouTube was on the like emerging, but the notion of you watch gamers play.
Yeah.
That for me, I still don't fully understand how there's a market to watch players play games. Now, I get it. Like we would watch a sport and be enjoyed watching the best of that field, but they would watch then a gamer game.
And it's like obviously it's like the split screen, so you're seeing his face, but then you're also seeing what he's playing. So I can see how it's entertaining for like 5 minutes if you're like, okay, I want to learn how he does this. But it
Hours.
goes on and on and on and on for days.
Yes.
And I'm just like, he'll try showing me like, hey, look at this guy, watch what he does. And I'm like, okay, the guy's good.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in.
I'm not bringing my.
game's
I'm
fun.
not bringing my clipboard and getting notes from that. Do you get like? I'm not a coach, and it's like, all right, yeah, let's go. Approach step 1, step 2. No, forget it. Dan, what is the best thing though? I think just in a moment of we are dads, we love our kids to bits, and what is the thing about being a dad of boys that you enjoy? I know for me, it comes with a significant amount of weight. I think last week I talked about, as a protector, as a dad and a protector of a daughter is significant. But I also think the weight you have to carry handing over to a boy who will be a man who will step into the world and contribute, what God has given them.
Yeah.
That for me then is just as equal as a weight you got to carry. And I think for me that some dads, I think a lot of dads, the heartbreaking truth is that weight is too much and it crushes them, and like absent fathers are a real thing.
Yeah.
And I think, recently watching a documentary of the incarceration rate, so many men are in prison and in the prison system. And you realize these guys that are in prison, because it's predominantly males, predominantly without a father.
Yeah.
And
I think it's like 90-some%.
It like astounds me the first time I saw that. And I think we just have to you fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
No one gives you a handbook of how to be a dad to a boy or how to be a dad to a girl. And often we parent how we've, been parented.
Right.
But at the same time, we get to instill those values and morals and who we are and get them, your child, to know God and whatever that is. I think that is so enjoyable and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes back to, like, the responsibility of leadership,
Mm,
and I think them seeing everything you do, everything you say,
mm,
it's like, how can I best represent God in this moment when I'm frustrated, when
yeah.
I'm irritated, when I don't feel like having a conversation with him about this, but then it's
Mm,
like, he needs to have these conversations
mm, mm,
because it's something I think about. My mom passed away when I was 12, 13, 14 years old.
mm,
Not all 3 years, but just one of those years.
mm,
And I think, like, man, if I don't teach him these things now,
mm.
what if he never learns?
Yeah.
And so, like, I've had tough conversations with him. I've had
Hmm.
conversations towards, like, is he too young to learn about this? Is he too young to have this conversation? And I kind of go back and be like, no, I would rather have him learn it from me
Mm.
than someone else.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
so
that's
true.
that's one thing that I've really tried pressing in these last few years, especially the middle school years, because it's such a pivotal time for these kids of their identity, who they are. They're getting pulled this way, pushed that way on what's cool, what's not cool.
Mm,
To be like, wait, understand who you are first,
mm,
and don't get pulled in this direction because it's a fad or because these people think it's cool,
mm.
but know who you are first, and this is who you are. You're a leader, you are loved.
Yes.
You are someone who has a future, that has God has plans for your life. And so that's something I'm trying to press into more. I'm not a very vocal person, but I've
Mm,
realized I've had to grow in that. I've had to learn in that when having those awkward conversations with my kids,
mm.
especially my son.
I think recently I've read a child, particularly teenager. This book was targeted at teenagers, and a child has, during those teen years, 3,000 formational hours per year. And so
Dang.
if you then consider that in terms of culture and everything around them and 3,000 hours a year, an hour a week is only 50 hours. And so the book talks about how do you fit more time
Mm,
as dads to be around your child, to just be 50 hours is just a drop,
yeah.
where how can we throw at least a bit more in there to balance that out?
Yeah.
And because I love what TD Jake said once, and he talks to his children and he's like, you get scared when I get scared. He's the filter. And I'm like, I love
Yeah.
that idea of, if someone comes at your door and the kids are freaking out. No, don't freak out. Like, freak out if I'm freaked out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I think that being that filter. So we love our boys, we love our children, and we love a clean home as well.
Yeah.
I, to finish up about dads of boys and dads of men, I think what I want to know, what is the tipping point of when boys grow into their bodies? Like, I think all three of my boys at certain parts have like, I don't like Nat and I are somewhat coordinated. Like we're both clumsy at our own time, but I feel like proportionately, the all three boys have their moments of like, how did you fall over?
Yeah.
Like, what did you fall over on?
Who pushed you? You were in the room by yourself and you're on the ground? What?
Have you ever, do your kids or does Josiah ever?
I will say something with him. I feel like he's more coordinated than all of us. So that he does have that to his advantage, but there are certain things of like, how did you do that? Like, how did
Yeah.
you bump your head on that? Like, were you were you not looking? Like, there are certain things to where it's, I don't know if it's coordination or just you're not like aware of your
Yeah.
surroundings.
I love when though they bump their head and they know it's their fault, so their cry isn't actually there. And
Yeah,
like, but then if it's not their fault, the cry, oh man, they
it is
they
wailing.
launch into a cry. I do need to finish, Dan, with this, and that is Gen Z language. We haven't gone there before, and I want to go there now. Gen Z language, because as Nat and I, a rule we have is we can always access Hugo and Callista's phones.
Yeah.
It's part of the responsibility of like parents get access whenever we want to read messages or whatever. And the thing is, though, there were some words, acronyms that I was like, oh, I've got to Google. And I felt instantly old. And I was like, hey, Nat, do you know what this is? She's like, no. And so here are some things. It got me thinking, Dan, what is, so cap? or no cap. What does that mean?
Like for real? Right, like no cap. Like,
Ooh,
am I off on that?
no
I've been
lie,
saying it.
lie, or no lie. So if you are
Yeah,
lying, you're
real, not real. Yeah, okay.
Oh, real, not real.
Yeah.
Okay, real and
I was gonna
lying.
say,
Okay.
have I used that
All right.
wrong?
Here we go. If you spill the tea, what does that mean?
If you spill the tea,
Spill the tea.
if you tell on someone.
Yeah, all right. Gossip or drama. FR.
Hmm?
FR. 2 letters. FR in a text message.
For real.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
I'm a cool dad.
Come on. Hey, you're mid. What's mid?
You're not that cool.
Yeah, nice. I like it. Sus.
You're suspicious.
Bussin'. Oh, that is bussin'.
That's cool. That is amazing. That's awesome.
Yes. Slay. You were slaying today.
You're killing it. Killing it.
Dan, you were slaying.
I'm slaying these answers. My gosh.
All right. Here we go. I don't know. Shook.
Shook?
Yeah.
Like, messed me up. Like, whoa, I'm confused. Like, what just happened?
Wow. Yeah. Okay, you're killing this. Slaying. Period T. Period T.
Like, dot T? What?
Yeah, like the word period T.
Oh, like, I have no idea, actually.
It's period in brackets for emphasis. I don't understand it. Period T.
I don't get that.
Would you say it?
No.
Or would you write it? Period T.
Maybe it's a text, like I don't know, in writing.
Man, it is hot. Period T.
What does the T stand for?
Vibe. Oh, here we go. Vibe check. Hey, vibe check.
Oh, how's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Everybody cool?
Great. Assessing the mood. All right, here we go. I've asked AI. A day in the life of Gen Z. Get this. Alex says, Bestie, you will not believe the tea I have to spill RN. This story is literally going to send you. Jordan then replies, how does Claude make up these names? Jordan then says, so Alex and Jordan. Jordan's like, FR. Go off, King. I'm all ears.
Go off. Oh, go off, King. Okay.
Yep. Alex, so I was at this mid party last night. Totally giving main character energy. I can't even.
Main character energy? So he was saying how he was giving main character energy?
I don't even know.
Are you just saying, like, I'm the stud of the party? Like, I'm the man?
What a flex. Like, Alex, man, I was at the party last night. It was bussin', but not really. And it was like mid-party, but I was main character.
Someone's full of themselves. Gen Z. I mean, that kind of, yeah.
Dan's wouldn't speak like that.
Never. Although I would like if you would say go off, King, every once in a while with me.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, that is episode 5. Just Dan's.
I'm Dan.
I'm Dan.